Clerk Fabella, can you please read the announcements?
Announcements. Fire evacuation plan. Please note that in the event of an emergency, the fire department has requested that legislators and all others move at least 1 block away from the county office building in order not to impede the firefighters in their duties. Cell phones. Please silence cell phones for the duration of the special session. Microphones. Please be reminded to use your microphones when speaking so that you are recorded for the official record. Roll call. Archer.
Here.
Bartels.
Here.
Collins.
Present.
DeLon.
Here.
Donaldson.
Here.
Eckert. Fabiano.
Here.
Jarentine.
Yeah.
Green. Haynes. Hepner.
Here.
Litz.
Here.
Lopez. Mayo.
Here.
Maloney Brenda.
Here.
Maloney Joseph.
Joe. Present.
Nolan.
Here.
Petit. Roberts.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Present.
Ronk.
Here.
Warrow.
Here.
And Waltman.
Here.
21 present and 2 absent.
Okay, we will now open the floor for public comment. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Please be mindful of the timekeeper at the back of the room. And if you have any written comments, you can submit them to the clerk of the legislature for inclusion in the record.
There are currently 8 speakers signed up. The first speaker is Linda Martin-Reed.
Good evening to everybody. Madam Chair, I'm sorry to have my back to you. My name is Linda Marston-Reed, and I've had the pleasure to serve as Arts Mid-Hudson's Executive Director for about 8 years now. And we have been extremely grateful for the support that Ulster County legislator has provided for the arts. And most of all, we've worked really hard to make sure we provide excellent service for the entire community. So our commitment includes an Ulster-based office and staffing to serve as the Arts Council of Ulster County, fairly distributing the county's cultural funding. But this is just one facet of the work that we do on a daily basis. We had requested an increase of our funding this year of $5,500 to provide for the increased staff time across Ulster County. And what I did was I brought with me just some comments from people that we have worked with. So Crystal Y, Executive Director of Mount Tremper Arts, I thought she said it really well. Ulster County is known for its large population of artists, yet Arts Mid-Hudson is the sole organization with a mission that exists to serve them. From Gardner to Kingston to Pine Hill, individual artists and organizations scrape by on limited resources while contributing to the enrichment and desirability of our communities. Arts Mid-Hudson provides necessary infrastructure and wields community partnerships that are vital to strong communities, especially in areas that are otherwise isolated. Ann Bailey, CEO of Bailey Pottery, said, "Through Arts Mid-Hudson's work, they have helped grow the local creative economy by supporting initiatives that attract cultural tourists to our area." And again, Crystal Y brought up something really good about economics. The funding from Arts Mid-Hudson is magnified in impact through hundreds of cultural activities, drawing visitors and representing millions of dollars spent on local businesses and housing. Mount Tremper Arts in fiscal 2019 received a critical award of $3,000, most of which is expended on local services and labor to support public programs. Audiences and artists served by this award then spent $17,000 by conservative estimates on local businesses such as restaurants, shops, housing, anything from Stone Ridge to Phoenicia. This is a 5-fold return on investment, economic development. So we're respectfully requesting that the legislator reconsider the requested budget of $90,000 to Arts Mid-Hudson. We think it's a great investment in the arts and to growing our economy and using that economic engine that we're really excited to make sure Ulster County has their hands on. Thank you.
Christine Dinsmore.
Hi, I'm Christine Dinsmore. I'm from Saugerties, and I am a former psychologist who worked with adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse and specialized in post-traumatic stress disorder recovery. I'm also the author of the book, From Surviving to Thriving: Incest, Feminism, and Recovery. I am here tonight to request that Hector Rodriguez recuse himself from the budget vote. I have two specific points I'd like to make. One, I am discouraged when I hear women my age, my contemporaries, who minimize the behavior of legislator Rodriguez with such statements as, "We experienced sexual harassment. We got over it. Move on." We didn't deserve the sexual harassment either. And we, my generation, worked diligently to try to end sexism and sexual violence of all kinds. And we should be proud that the later generations have taken up the torch and have declared enough. Second, to legislator Rodriguez, besides your offensive and damaging behavior towards women, you have a
Excuse me, you
history.
can't speak directly to a legislator.
He has a history of doing good work. He's often been on the right side of justice. But we shouldn't be, our legacy should not be described. You threw me off here. None of us should be defined by our mistakes. But if he wants his legacy to be remembered for his accomplishments rather than predatory behavior, he needs to do the right thing. At the very least, that begins tonight with his recusing himself from the budget vote, a vote that directly affects women in this community. I hope you do the right thing.
Bonnie Wagner.
Good evening. My name is Bonnie Wagner, and I'm from Woodstock, New York. My background is as a guidance counselor at the John G. Borden Middle School in Wallkill, and I was the executive director of the New York State Coalition Against Domestic Violence for 15 years. I was also an adjunct instructor at SUNY New Paltz in Women's Studies, where I taught a course on violence against women in America. My experience in the anti-violence movement has shown how it takes great courage to report any abuse, rape, battery, and sexual harassment. Victimization makes a woman very vulnerable. Speaking out is difficult at best. Fear of the perpetrator, the response of the criminal justice system, and pressure from family and friends make it extremely difficult. Too often, the woman is not believed or taken seriously. Victim blaming is common, and the woman often achieves nothing by speaking out about her trauma. In situations involving abuse, there is a power dynamic. The abuser holds the power over the victim, who is primarily a woman. The woman takes a risk in speaking out and reporting the violence. Often her livelihood is involved. In cases of sexual harassment, it is most difficult to speak out because of the fear of losing a position and the fear of not being believed or taken seriously. The Me Too movement has brought the issue of sexual harassment to the forefront as a serious form of abuse. Many of these perpetrators were fired or resigned from their positions. There is significant improvement now in how women are being believed and supported, thanks to the Me Too movement. Hector Rodriguez abused his power as a legislator. In his position, his behavior should be exemplary, not only in his official capacity, but in his formal and informal relationships. It is inappropriate for him to remain on the legislature. He should not be voting on this budget because there are items that involve services for women and funding of programs that serve women. He should not be
Ms.
voting
Wagner,
on,
if you could wrap up your comments.
given the predatory behavior of the president, it is not surprising that Mr. Rodriguez doesn't resign. He should not be in a position that again holds power over a woman. He
Ms.
must be.
Wagner, your time is concluded. If you could, you could submit your rest of your comments.
Okay, thank you very much.
The next speaker is Tyrone Wilson.
Good evening, all. Good evening, Chair. I'll part my back to you. I'm Tyrone Wilson. I am the founder of Harambe. Sorry, that's better. I'm sorry. I am the founder and executive director of Harambe, a non-for-profit organization here in Kingston. We are responsible for the first African American festival here in Kingston. We are responsible for Black History Month Kingston that's been taking place here in the past 2 years. I'm here to talk a little bit more about the Chief Diversity Officer and why is that important. Working, in the fields of, even in New York City, I witnessed this before, and it's so important that the county represents the demographic of which they serving, and coming into the county building, which I'm here more often than I used to be, but I think it's real important that somebody is there to make sure that everybody is getting a fair trial on any type of job applications, notifications of where to go in this building when they're looking for a job, a person that can be connected to the community when we're talking about more job searches. So I think this is a very valid position. I think this is a great step having this officer, and it's a great step of moving forward. Thank you for your time.
Martin Dunkley.
This up a little bit more. Good evening. My name is Martin Dunkley, and I'm a part of Season Gives. I'm also a board member on Harambe, and I am from Saugerties, New York. I represent Saugerties, New York. My purpose here today is just to actually piggyback off of what Tyrone said about the importance of diversity within our legislature. In our communities, we're dealing with a lot of crisis as far as mental health, as far as the opioid crisis and so on and so forth. The organization that I'm a part of, we try to see if we can target a lot of that stuff, but we do need the support of the entire community, which is yourselves. So these are some of the things that I think that we definitely need some more representation among yourselves that can actually relate to a lot of things that's going on deeper in the communities, deeper in the lesser communities, minority communities, and so on and so forth. All right? Thank you.
Pete Carberry.
Hi. Oh, no. Hi, my name is Pete Carberry. I'm Commissioner in the Woodstock Fire Department, lieutenant, volunteer, and I'm mostly here on the Fire Advisory Board. We're asking this year for $15,000 for training in Nassau County for our firefighters, women, men. We're very mixed. We're doing the best we can with everybody. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because we know it's a tough fight. And although we have so many fire departments in the county, you may ask them for $1 or $100. A lot of our volunteer fire departments don't have that money. The reason we're asking for it is because it's a tough class, and usually the departments are asked to put it out for themselves. And even though Woodstock may have the money, we don't always have all that money. You know, our budget, we always say, oh, what's another few cents? So I'm asking you, what's another few cents for $15,000 on a $300-something million budget? And we're asking that you please support us and help us out. Because, you know, the more training we get, the better we are. You know, we don't want to lose lives. You know? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Frank Banks.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Frank Banks. I'm from Esopus, New York, and I'm also currently the chairman of the Fire Advisory Board. I want to thank everybody for your support on the training center and everything that you've been doing for firefighters. But I'm here tonight to plead on both party lines to support us to move forward with being able to have additional funding. And this funding is for off-site training. This is specific training. Nassau County, different places, higher quality training that can be provided in our training facility. This funding currently is being funded by all not-for-profit organizations, and it's not fair. The county as a whole definitely gets a lot out of that, as well as other communities throughout New York State get that, and other counties around us. So I'm just asking the support tonight for the $15,000 for the additional training funding. That's it. Thank you.
The last speaker signed up is Rachel LeBaire.
Hi, weird to be here so soon again. I'm here to ask you all, I thank you for this opportunity, this great new job, Chief Diversity Officer. It's incredibly important. I'm here to also ask that you fund early childhood education, early childhood care. There are so many different, there have been so many ways that we've seen that sort of funding pay off. There's no point in listing them all. Every dollar is important, and children are members of the community. In addition, a similar note, I have the privilege of working with young youth activists on the climate crisis, my day job, and we need to fund environmental protections in our community like it's life or death, because it really is. I'm almost 30. That's not young in the climate movement, but we need to think about the next generation, and we need to make sure that we need to fund it like it's life or death, because it really is. And we need to make sure that the people, it's not on contingency. So we have the mobility to, move on. Anyway, moving off the prepared remarks now. Why does Hector Rodriguez get to vote on the budget when he was censured last time? Why? Why does he get to do that? In addition, why does he get to vote on a pay cut for one of the few people in this county who reacted appropriately when they found out what he was doing? I'm beyond the fact that he can vote on the budget now. That's just, I can't even begin. How is that allowed? Just like last time I was here, I hope that in the future we're going to have better policies and procedures to prevent this kind of thing from happening. But I gotta say, what a undignified and vile way to cap off a career if the last thing you do is cast a potentially retaliatory vote. That would be awful. That would be just awful. And disrespectful to every woman in the county. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Anyone else in the chambers who would like to speak? Okay, moving on to resolutions. This-
Resolution 509, ratification of tax rolls.
Well, first we're doing
We'll do this one and then.
I was going to say that we.
on the.
Are there any no's on any of the resolutions?
Do it,
I'll move to block the resolutions.
okay.
Yeah.
And that's resolution 509 through 515.
Yeah, 509 to 514. No, 515. 13, sorry.
Okay, a motion to block resolutions 509 through 513. On the motion to block. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And on the resolutions.
We are short yes.
We're short, yes.
The resolutions are adopted 21-0.
Resolution 514, adopting the Ulster County budget for fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2020, and making appropriations for the conduct of county government.
Okay, I will be going through the amendments. Before we begin, is there a motion to block any of the beginning amendments?
Yes, I'd like to move to block amendments 1 through 8.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. On the motion to block amendments 1 through 8.
Aye.
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 Okay. And on amendments 1 through 8.
We are short yes.
We're short, yes.
The amendments are adopted 21-0.
Okay. Amendment number 9, to increase all applicable full-time assistant district attorney salaries to agree with the newly recommended assistant public defender position. Do I have a motion on the amendment?
I move that.
Second.
Okay, on amendment number 9.
On the amendment, we are short yes with 1 no. Legislator Nolan.
On the amendment, we're a short, yes.
The amendment is adopted 20-1.
Okay. Amendment number 10, to designate funds for additional environmental funding as requiring the inclusion of a rooftop solar feasibility study. Do I have a motion for the amendment?
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Okay, and on the amendment?
We are short yes.
On the amendment, can I just say,
Yes, absolutely. Legislator Rung.
just very briefly, I just want to thank Legislator Gerentine for, bringing this amendment forward so the legislature could get more information than the executive's office had given to us previously on this, so we could make an informed decision.
Okay, and on the amendment, on amendment number 10?
We're a short, yes.
We are short yes.
The amendment is adopted 21-0.
It is my understanding that amendment number 11 is withdrawn. Amendment number 12, for the purpose of implementing a request for proposal.
Oh, hold on,
Point of
Chairwoman.
order.
On amendment number 11, Legislator
Okay,
Gerentine. had
Legislator
this.
Gerentine?
Yeah, amendment number 11 withdrawn based on the information that we're
Microphone.
going to include.
You want to use your microphone?
That we're going to include what the actual planning is. No.
There it is.
Yes, it would be pulled based on the information of the part of the amendment, which is going to state what the actual use of that money is for, correct?
That is my understanding that we will have the detail changed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, now I will withdraw it, yes.
Thank you, Legislator Gerentine. Amendment number 12, for the purpose of implementing a request for proposal for addiction recovery and rehabilitation training professional services. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Okay, on amendment number 12.
We are short yes.
We're a short, yes.
The amendment is adopted 21-0.
Amendment number 13, to support programming offered by People's Place. Do I have a motion? Do
Move it.
I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
We are short
On-
yes.
On the amendment,
Legislator Runk?
can I stay seated? Because
You
this
may.
is going to,
Yeah.
I am going to be a no on this amendment, and it's not because the People's Place doesn't do a fantastic job for the people of Ulster County, especially northern Ulster County, but because there are at least tens of deserving food pantries around the county that do similar work as the People's Place that are not being funded. I know that in my district, the Loaves and Fishes Food Pantry in the Hamlet of Walk-Hill services hundreds of families in the Walk-Hill Central School District, and they won't be receiving a dime from this funding. I think that there's a lot of amendments that we need to really rethink how we're distributing these funds, because a lot of these funds end up Kingston-centric. In my district, there was an old saying that Ulster County ends at 299. And I've worked very hard over the last 12 years to change that view in the Hamlet of Walk-Hill, but it's things like this that cause that line of thinking, because People's Place is a great job, but they don't service the residents of Walk-Hill, they don't service the residents of Plattekill, they don't service the southern end of the county, and so we just need to, as a body, really start thinking of a holistic approach to using the county funds, in my opinion.
Thank you. Legislator Donaldson?
I mean, I have some agreement with that concept, but it does serve more than just Kingston. It serves the greater Kingston area. It actually serves people in Saugerties also. But I mean, having said that, I live
Legislator Donaldson, hold one moment. Point of information.
Point of information, I didn't just say Kingston, I said the northern end of the county.
No problem. But I mean, using that same concept, I could vote against bridges being repaired because I don't have any bridges in my district. But I don't do that. Why? Because for the greater good of the county, I'll vote to fix those bridges.
On amendment number 13.
We have a short yes.
We're a short yes with the following no's. Legislators Ronk, Brenda Maloney, Roberts, and Mayo.
The amendment is adopted 17-4.
Amendment number 14, to fund the Hudson River Maritime Museum to support a portion of the consolidated funding application grant Roundout Riverport Phase 2.
Move it.
Do I have a
Second.
Okay, on the amendment?
We have a short yes.
We're a short no, but I'll just list the no's because that's what I have written down here. The no's are Legislator Brenda Maloney, Legislator Roberts, Fabiano, Ronk, and Mayo.
The amendment is adopted 16-5.
Amendment number 15, for firefighter training off-site. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Okay, on the amendment?
We have a short yes.
Legislator Jarrington would like to speak, I think.
Legislator Gerantine?
Yes, regarding this amendment, I brought it up in Ways and Means that it's a very valuable resource that the firefighters serve, and they should have all the training. I think that's why the county itself went out and spent over $8 million on a new fire training center. After the Ways and Means meeting that we had, I actually called up my fire districts that the two I represent, and neither one knew anything about this. I mean, what we're talking about is $15,000 for fire training for 50 fire districts. It's about $300 per district. It's one person per district. Unless somebody doesn't go for that district, they would have someone else go from another district, so they might have two. I also got a call after the Ways and Means Committee from Everett Erickson, and he's the Deputy Director of Emergency Services Fire Rescue. And he basically says, he's not committee one way or the other regarding the training, but I think, this body should be well aware, once we finish this fire training center, they're probably going to be hiring 2 people, fire people that are classified, that are trained to teach and to train all the fire districts in Ulster County, which is going to be much more greater than the $15,000. So I really understand the need for the training, but there again, in the past, it came out of the local fire districts. I mean, most of them are fire taxing districts. We're talking $300 each district. I mean, county, yes, we're going to help you, but I think there's more important things that we as a county could be looking at, such as fire training, put people in place at the fire training center
to actually train all the other volunteer firemen. So there again, I understand your concerns, but hopefully you understand where I'm coming from. I'm a no.
Legislator Wrong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just on this, while I respect everything that Legislator Gerentine just said, and I respect his point of view, the additional outside of the county training and the fire training center aren't mutually exclusive. The two individuals, I believe, that are going to be hired for fire training are part-time county fire training instructors, which will supplement the state fire training instructors, which are required for certain state-mandated, Office of Fire Prevention and Control courses, like Firefighter 1 and various other courses, from everything from fire police training to being a basic exterior firefighter. So it's going to be important for us to invest in our firefighters in this manner, to me, because, there's a benefit to training with other organizations. When they do this out-of-county training, they're training with people from other counties who may have other skills, who may have other, mechanisms for fighting fire. The fire training that's going to happen outside of the county is not the same fire training that's going to happen at the fire training center. So again, I don't want to think of them as two mutually exclusive items, because to me, it's a combination of training that's going to provide better training for our firefighters, not only to help them come and keep our homes safe and to put out fires at our houses, but to make sure that they stay safe while doing so as well.
Legislator Petit.
There we go. Thank you. Outside of simply responding to fires and getting the training here in Ulster County, the off-site advanced training also covers fast water. It covers rope rescues, which unfortunately some of our firefighters were involved with recently in the city of Kingston. And it does build the camaraderie because they are working with other districts. So we do need to keep investing in this workforce that is strictly volunteer, except for the city of Kingston, where they do have paid firefighters. Many of their firefighters, though, also volunteer outside on their time off. So we really do need to put this resolution through so we can keep them safe while they're keeping us safe.
On the amendment.
We go short yes.
We're short yes with one no, Legislator Gerentine.
The amendment is adopted 20-1.
Amendment number 16, to replace the administrative assistant position with a confidential secretary to the comptroller position at a 35-hour work week.
Move it.
Second.
On the amendment.
We are a short yes with one abstention. Legislator Maloney.
We're a short yes.
The amendment is adopted 20-0 with one abstention. Legislator Joseph Maloney.
Amendment number 17, to increase the salary of the Director of Internal Audit and Control and restore the position to a 37.5-hour work week.
Move it.
Second.
Okay, Legislator Ronk.
On the amendment, I'm going to be supporting it. I think that we should give our new comptroller every benefit of the doubt that she's going to do a fantastic job. And this is one thing that she had requested. I had sponsored a separate amendment which would have given parity between our legislative staff and this position. This is now about $10,000 higher than our legislative staff that do relatively the same job. I think that that's a bad precedent to set. I think that this legislature routinely shortchanges itself when compared to the other departments of the county, including the comptroller and the county executive's office. And all that does is set up a scenario where other departments and other portions of the government can poach our staff that are highly trained in the county budget and county systems. So I'll be voting yes on this, but I, again, think that as a body, we need to be thinking more about how these amendments like this are going to affect our own operations and our highly trained staff.
Thank you. On the amendment.
We are a short yes with one abstention. Legislator Joseph Maloney.
We're a short yes.
The amendment is adopted 20-0 with one abstention. Legislator Joseph Maloney.
Amendment number 18, to add 2 new entry-level staff positions to the Board of Elections. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
A second?
Second.
Okay. Legislator Donaldson?
I believe we're going to amend that to 2 part-time positions.
Okay. Has that amendment been circulated?
No. to us.
Want to take a moment to locate it?
Not having been told about this, I hadn't discussed it in caucus, so if you'll give me a moment
Absolutely.
to confer with my caucus.
Absolutely.
I know. Anybody? All right, we're ready.
You ready? Okay. On the amendment,
On the amendment, we're a short yes.
On the amendment, we're short no.
okay. On
I did want to speak on the amendment.
Legislator Donaldson,
I want to speak on the amendment. I understand, some people are pointing out, well, maybe the population don't warrant it. But the number of elections now and the number of times that we're actually doing early voting is significant. It's significantly more than it was this very past year, next year will be. So it is a great deal of work that is being done. And if you take a look at the comp time that there is each people that are working in there, are getting and having to take, it is significant. That's one of the reasons why I understand they wanted a full-time position. That's one of the reasons why I said, well, let's do the part-time position and create the situation where, let's see if it works. My mindset would be, and would, of course, it would most likely be people that have already worked in the department at some point and may come back from retirement to work a part-time position during the real heavy times. So my take on it is that was a compromise that made sense.
Legislator Hepner, did you want to speak on the amendment?
No, I'm good.
Legislator Nolan, on the amendment, sorry, this is backwards.
In the hopes that maybe someone would reconsider a vote, the Democratic Elections Commissioner had urged this full-time position very strongly, and because of it being the Board of Elections, that would mean two people being hired. I support that. The Republican Election Commissioner had opposed the addition of a position. So to me, full-time, zero, part-time is the compromise. And since these two election commissioners have to work together to achieve the goals of the entire county, it seems to me that we should support a compromise on this. So I would support the compromise amendment and would ask that people consider whether or not that would be the best way to reflect the bipartisan nature of that particular office.
The votes have been cast on the amendment.
The amendment is defeated 11 to 10.
On the amendment to the amendment is defeated 11 to 10. On the amendment, Amendment 18. This is for full-time.
We are a short yes with one no. Two no's.
Can you, who are the noes? Thank you.
Legislator Maloney and Legislator Collins.
We're short no.
The amendment is defeated 9 to 12.
Amendment number 19, to relocate specified positions to better reflect their flow of authority and oversight. Do you have a motion?
Move it.
Second?
On the amendment,
We are a short yes with the following no's, Legislator Nolan and Legislator Donaldson.
We're a short yes.
The amendment is adopted 19 to 2.
Amendment number 20, to create and fund an additional position entitled Environmental Compliance Officer within the Environment Department.
Move it.
Second?
Legislator Ronk.
Thank you. I'm going to be a no on this position. Over the past several years, we've passed a number of environmental local laws, the plastic bag law, the styrofoam law, the straw law, the straw plus law. And in each of those debates, at least one legislator has gotten up and said this isn't going to cost the taxpayers anything. I think that we're seeing an $84,832 cost to the taxpayer with this resolution, with this amendment in this position, which is why I will be a no.
Legislator Nolan.
I agree with Legislator Ronk that we have had those conversations, and I had shared that concern. I'm voting in favor of this amendment because...
Is the microphone on? I'm sorry. I couldn't hear the microphone, so I just want to make sure somebody could.
So my understanding is that the term compliance officer being assigned to this position, thank you, gives us the opportunity to fund this position.
No, it's good. It's good. It's on now.
Okay. To fund this position more easily, potentially receiving funding through outside sources outside the county. And the officer can do many things that we do need. So from the position of supporting an additional position in the Department of Environment and calling it this so that we can get it funded more efficiently, I think it's a very wise way to proceed.
Legislator Fabiano.
Yes, I'm going to be voting yes on this tonight because in the 14 years that I've been here, even if it's not an environmental issue, any issue that we tried to change the course and right the wrong, we never had any, a lot of times, no enforcement on it. So if we're going to make these environmental laws, we have to make sure that they're going to be obeyed and followed. And so we don't have like the dumping crisis in Saugerties and bakeries dumping their cooking oil out in catch basin drains. Those things have to be looked at, and these people have to be held accountable. So I will be a yes.
Legislator Green.
Yeah, I think with the passage of the essentially food waste composting bill, it sort of tipped the scales. There have been some places for compliance, but there's also been a huge pressure on the Department of Environment. And at this point, given the fact that there probably will be even more environmental legislation if we take seriously the climate crisis that we declared to be an emergency. So I really think this position is very much needed, and it's also been reduced from the way it was originally proposed.
Legislator Donaldson.
Also, the point of this is actually, as was pointed out by Legislator Nolan, is putting the position in this title also gives us the ability to attract money and actually maybe be able to get the position actually funded through the state. And I also want to thank all my colleagues for the forward thinking when we did pass all those environmental laws.
Legislator Petit, you had your hand up.
The Department of the Environment is a relatively small office, considering that we've asked them to take on MS4 stormwater control. With the recent passing of the zero waste policy, we'll expect them to give us recommendations. And with the many new upcoming and future environmental concerns that we have and we'll be passing legislation on, they really do need a compliance person there. I also understand that we'll need more outreach, and the hopes are that in a person in this capacity who's doing compliance, they will also provide education with that. So it's a much needed position for a very small department.
Legislator Waltman.
I concur with what Legislator Petit just said. We've tasked this department with many new tasks over the last 2 years, and the trend, I think, is going to continue. So I think we have to give them the tools to complete the job that we're asking them to do. So I'll be voting yes on this.
On the amendment.
On the amendment, we're a short yes.
On the amendment, we're a short yes with... I'm sorry, a short no with 3 yeses, legislators Waltman, Fabiano, and Haynes.
The amendment is adopted 14-7.
I have that Amendment 21 has been withdrawn. Amendment 22.
I'm going to be withdrawing this amendment, but I wanted to say in withdrawing it that I think the legislature needs to pay more attention to mid-year budget transfers and mid-year salary changes because these are things that should come up at budget time, not in the month of June. And I think that it does this body a disservice to stand idly by while large 29% salary increases are made outside of the budget process.
Amendment 23, to provide applicable management non-union employees with a 2% raise over the adopted 2019 salary rate.
I'll move it.
Second.
Legislator Runk, did you want to speak on it?
I do. I certainly hope that every legislator that was planning on opposing the resolution that would have reduced a 29% salary increase for one member of the non-union management employees would be willing to support 2% for every other non-union management employee of the county. At a time when all of our other bargaining units are getting at least 2%. We just passed 2 contracts for in excess of 2% with bargaining units. I think it's important to show some appreciation for the hardworking members of our management non-union personnel.
On the amendment?
On the amendment, we're a short no with 1 yes, Legislator Rodriguez, and 1 abstention, Legislator Petit.
For what purpose?
Purpose of employment.
We're a short yes.
The amendment is defeated, 11 to 10.
I'll be a yes. I would like to say that we should have got that comprehensive salary study. It's to the point where I almost think we were lied to. I don't think we treat our unions well enough, and I think management and in a lot of departments have gotten treated way too well, including one we just talked about. We really leave the people behind. The people that keep this county going are our unions and a lot of those contracts. I realize that, and I just think it's duly noted as we give this raise, and I think there's people that really deserve it that are management. But I'll be a yes.
The amendment is adopted 12 to 8 with 1 abstention, Legislator Petit.
You know what, I think I'll change my vote to a yes also.
Legislator Petit.
Could I through the chair to our council, if I abstain on this amendment, do I have to abstain from the entire budget? Okay, it was just a question that was asked, so thank you.
How many raises, was that your question? It's substantial, it's close to $291,000 and. Can you use your microphone, Legislator Maloney?
I think it was a fair question what Legislator Petit asked, because there is a legal, when you get to a diminishing return where something is specific enough for it to be a conflict, and then when it's big enough not to be, would there be an argument to be made that if she doesn't vote on this, she could not vote on the budget?
No.
I was asking legal. Chris, do you know what I'm saying? No, I'm just saying that's what she was asking, that it's a big group, she's abstaining. If she's being told to abstain on this, would the same philosophy apply to the budget? No, because the budget's that much bigger. But 240, you're saying that many people?
It's not 240 people, but it's $240,000.
I was asking the number of staff that it affected. Because if it was 240, that's a lot. I would think either she shouldn't abstain or the same argument could be made for the budget, is all I'm saying. But it's not 240. How many is it?
Okay. The vote has already been cast, correct?
I was just looking for some legal clarity rather than no, it's fine, she should vote.
Okay. Can you please give the count again?
I have that amendment adopted 12 to 8 with one abstention, legislator Petit.
Excuse me, I'm a little confused with that. Did you change
You
my?
changed your vote. I did not change your vote. I did not. 13 to
That made it 13, is that correct?
It absolutely did. The correct vote with legislator Donaldson changing his vote is 13 to 7 with one abstention, legislator Petit.
I have that Amendment 24 was withdrawn. Amendment 25, to increase funding for Arts Mid-Hudson for program expenses.
Move it.
Second.
On the amendment.
On the amendment, we are a short yes with one no, legislator Petit.
We're a short no with 3 yeses, legislators Waltman, Haynes, and Worrow.
The amendment is adopted 13 to 8.
Amendment number 26, to increase funding for Family of Woodstock Supervised Visitation Program.
Move it.
Second.
On the amendment.
We are a short yes.
We're a short no with the following yeses, legislators Haynes and Worrow.
The amendment is adopted 13 to 8.
Amendment 27, to increase funding for Cornell Cooperative Extension for the planning and delivery of programming.
Move it.
Second.
On the amendment.
We are a short yes with the following no's, legislator Petit and legislator Joseph Maloney.
We're a short no with the following yeses, legislators Haynes, Worrow, Litz, and Waltman.
The amendment is adopted 13 to 8.
Amendment 28, to fund Mohonk Preserve, Inc. to support the outdoor field studies and traveling in-class outreach educational programs.
Move it.
Second.
On the amendment.
We are a short yes with one no, legislator Petit.
We're a short no with 1 yes, legislator Haynes.
The amendment is defeated 11 to 10.
Amendment 29, to fund D&H Canal Historical Society for the creation of a visitor center at the Dupuy Canal House.
Move it.
Second.
Legislator Donaldson.
There was offered an amendment to that to reduce the number to $10,000.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the amendment.
We are a short yes.
Short yes on the amendment. And 1 abstention on the amendment, legislator Litz. Sorry.
The amendment to the amendment is adopted 20 to 0 with 1 abstention, legislator Litz.
And Legislator Litz, can you state your reason for abstaining, please?
Excuse me?
Can you state your reason for abstaining?
My firm is designing the park that this money is going to go to.
Thank you. On the amendment as amended.
We are a short yes.
We're a short no with 1 yes, legislator Haynes, and 1 abstention, legislator Litz.
The amendment is adopted 12 to 8 with 1 abstention, legislator Litz.
I have that Amendment 30 was withdrawn. Amendment 31, withdrawn. Amendment 32, withdrawn. Amendment 33, withdrawn. Amendment 34, withdrawn. Amendment 35, to reclassify additional economic development funding and services for which no detailed plan or explanation is available. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Legislator Ronk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to make an amendment to this amendment to reduce the amount going to contingency by $50,000, making making $75,000 to contingency, $50,000 remaining in the line.
Do I have a second on the amendment?
I'll second it.
I'll support the amendment in the case that.
On the amendment.
On the amendment, we're a short yes.
We're a short yes.
The amendment to the amendment is adopted 0.
On the amendment as amended. Legislator Ronk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's important that this legislature have detailed plans when hundreds of thousands of dollars are budgeted for items. I understand the need to act in haste, which is why I'm willing to leave a substantial amount of money in the line for emergencies, for things that are going to come up in between legislative meetings or before a legislative meeting. But my hope is that at our meeting in January, meeting in February, the county executive's office, along with the Department of Economic Development, come to us with a detailed plan that of how these monies are going to be spent, and we're able to move the $75,000 out of contingency in haste.
Thank you. Legislator Waltman.
Thank you. Having just created recently this department, I think it's important that we give them the tools as much as we can available for them to accomplish their mission. And I think this is a fair compromise. It will allow them to be nimble enough to conduct business, but it also gives the legislature a check on additional spending and coming back to the legislature for those additions and withdraw that money out of contingency. So I think this is a fair compromise, and I can support it.
Legislator Gerantine.
Yeah, I'm just a little unclear. I thought this was already directed on how they were going to spend the money, what they were actually using the money for, and the dollars amount that was sent to me. Okay, is that
Through the chair to
not true?
Legislator
I
Runk.
mean,
Through the chair to Legislator Runk.
yeah.
Okay. So there was a list of things that this money may be spent on that was sent to us, but there were no dollar amounts included in that. There were no specifics on, what was going to be spent where, and I think that that's important to have before we dedicate this amount of money to a program.
What amendment was that?
I remember there was a list of things that that the interim director of economic development had sent to us, but no dollar amounts were included in that.
Oh, well, Mark is just saying that that maybe did not go to everybody, just came to me, but there again, I know I spoke to Lisa regarding this, and she did have dollar amounts on the different programs, so that's why I'm a little confused on it.
Legislator Donaldson.
Look, I supported the amendment to the amendment because I was afraid that the amendment as a whole would fail. And I really think we should have funded the full amount at this point. It's not really a leap of faith because we did create a department and we do have to fund that department. So my mindset is you fund that department. But I mean, I'm willing to make a compromise on that, but like Legislator Gerantine pointed out, they did show specific numbers the last time.
Legislator Maloney. Joseph.
Just for a point of clarity, this department, now it's called a department, did exist. The only thing we did with our vote was give us some oversight into the department head. Now there's an official department head that we get to approve the appointment by the exec. Before it was technically, I think, the head of planning, but they still had the staff. They still were doing all the things they're going to do. The reason we did that and created that department was because the legislature was, as a large portion of us, were fairly dissatisfied with our approach, county approach to economic development. One of the issues I had was how involved in the executive's races, many of these appointees in the economic development, whatever it was called at that point, how involved they got in politics. They also were way too involved with the IDA, which was completely inappropriate, and we've finally gotten away from that. That's the reason we created. Nothing has changed. There's still a department. There's still many of the same people working there. All we did was give ourselves some approval. So now the idea that, well, we just got to fund it unless they give us a lot of specifics, is a little disingenuous the way that was just rolled out there by a couple legislators.
Legislator Green.
I will be voting to support this, but I want to say that it's really important that we pay attention to the climate emergency that we declared. And I do not want to see economic development doing business the way they have in the past. We have to consider greenhouse gas emissions. We have to consider all of the implications of a climate emergency. And I also want to be sure that the assistant deputy of this department that is going to assume the role of Green Business Coordinator, which can help our businesses really take climate action that will also save them money. I want to be sure that they don't have too much other responsibility so that they can't do that job. So I will vote yes, but will be watching that department much more carefully. Thank you.
Legislator Nolan.
So, more than 10 years ago, when this legislative body was controlling economic development, it was stalled. And following the adoption of the charter and the county executive coming into office and a host of initiatives that followed along with that, we have seen growth in many areas of our economy, particularly the tourism economy. And it is the growth in that economy that is funding most of these other benefits that we are putting in through these legislative amendments, and that the executive has had money to put into a budget that takes care of people in this community. I think that for those economic development professionals to have some latitude to make decisions about what they're doing, and then they have to come to us if it's a large contract over 50,000, is very reasonable. And so, you know, $125,000 with a description that in my hearing at the meeting was divided into multiple different areas with rough dollar figures was fully sufficient. So I would have supported funding, you know, keeping the entire monies in the department so that the department can get going. I'm willing to go with the compromise with the idea that some monies can be spent and that the department can come to us, or come to the body early in 2020 with the other specifics.
I have Legislator Litz, and then Legislator Rodriguez, and then Legislator Ronk for the second time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's my understanding that this budgeted amount here in the amendment has nothing to do with the operation of, excuse me, I won't say the operation, the budget, or how the office will be able to carry out its duties. This is strictly for professional services outside what they're already budgeted and their staff. So this is an additional $150,000 that they can reach out and hire somebody outside the county. I believe the compromise is a good one, and anything over $50,000 should come here for a vote, so they shouldn't have $150,000 to play with without coming here.
125, just point of information.
Yes, I have Legislator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, as was pointed out earlier, 10 years ago, well, actually 10 years ago, Michael Hine would have been county executive, but 11 years ago would have been the old form of government, which a few of us, served in. And it was also the time of the Great Recession. So this particular allocation is in fact designed to be sort of quote unquote the successor document to something that we did do in 2007 and 8, which was Ulster Tomorrow, an economic development strategy. Now, we had economic development last night. It was not shared with this committee, with that particular committee, any of these details or any details at all with regards to how that strategy was going to be developed. Now, I have heard apparently in caucus that they have provided some information to the chair and deputy chair, which is appreciated. But at this point, we should be very happy with a compromise. Quite candidly, I would have been fine with moving the whole amount into contingency, so that way this legislature could in fact have a voice and be involved. We are both the appropriating authority, but we are also involved in oversight over the departments, including the Department of Economic Development, because it's written that way because I wrote it.
Legislator Ronk, you had your hand up. Did you want
fine.
to speak a second time? Legislator Green, did you want to speak a second time?
Yeah, I was reminded that I got confused. It's sort of a double negative, so I actually am a no. Is that what I said, Jonathan? Okay.
Are you a no?
For the same reason, with the same clarification that I stated earlier.
Okay, on the amended amendment,
We are a short no with one yes, two yeses, Legislator Joseph Maloney and Legislator Rodriguez.
We're a short yes.
The amendment is adopted 12 to 9.
Okay. Amendment 36, to relocate funding for the newly recommended position. My understanding is this is going to be withdrawn. but did you wanna speak on
I
it?
would like to speak on it.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Are you withdrawing it, though?
I'm going to withdraw it, but I want to speak on it. I'm very reluctant to withdraw this, but more than anything, it's because of some misinformation or half-truths that have been shared with the general public on the effect of this amendment. It would not remove the chief diversity officer from the budget. It would just remove the funding until such time as a civil service test is held, because I think everybody in this body wants the most qualified person. It's a civil service tested position, wants the most qualified person to do this. Everybody in this legislature, including those members in this caucus, believe it's a laudable goal to increase the diversity of the county workforce, and it's definitely something that we should work towards. But I think that it could be a year and a half until this position has a civil service test, and the county executive could then hire whomever he wants in that position for that year and a half until the civil service test is held. So we were trying to, make sure that the person who took this job was going to be the most qualified person under New York State civil service law. I know that there was a lot of misinformation spread by the executive's office that we were against the position of chief diversity officer and that members of this legislature may have been against diversity in general. I just want to make sure publicly that everybody knows that that was absolutely not the case. And so with that, I don't want, it's going to fail, the amendment's going to fail anyway, so I'm going to withdraw it at this time.
Amendment 36 is withdrawn. Do you want to speak on a point of order?
Yeah, do you,
Amendment
withdrawal.
36, you were not. It was Ronkin Lopez.
Oh, sorry.
Amendment 37, I have that this one was withdrawn by sponsor.
Yeah,
Legislator Ron?
I'm withdrawing this. I put this amendment in as to make a point. I think the point was made. To me, in a $330 million budget, there has to be somebody who can make a budget presentation, so we don't have to contract out for $1,330 of taxpayer money.
Okay. Okay, so that concludes the packet. No, that concludes the amendment packet. Okay. Okay, on the resolution adopting the county budget as amended.
I would just like to be on the record. I was thinking about being a statement. No, I'll be a yes. It doesn't matter because this is passing. But we are going into fund balance in a way I don't think we historically have in years. I had a lot of issues with the former executives on different things, but they were fairly responsible when it came to fund balance. I think we're going into it, and I don't think we're going into it for the things I'd like to see. Recycling and solid waste capabilities. Things that are going to affect us 20 and 30 years down the line. Talking to a lot of financial people in the public and private sector, this budget looks like something that we're getting onto a trend line that can't continue. It looks like a budget from an executive branch of government that does not plan on being here past 4 years. As much as I like term limits, I'd rather people plan on not being here and doing everything they can to leave the county in the best financial shape that we can, and I really don't think this budget is responsible. So I think there's some delinquent properties with real environmental issues that is going to take some real funds. I mean, millions of dollars in funds that need to go towards there. Way too many new positions. Not all of them are mandated. I really want to be on the record here because I think in a couple of years, if we don't get back on track by next year, within a couple of years, especially if the housing market or sales tax or something else doesn't go our way, and those things have been going our way, I think it's a little irresponsible what we did here. But And I probably see less legislative involvement in this budget than I had the last couple of years, and that's kind of a pretty daunting statement as well.
Legislator Ronk?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will be supporting the budget this evening, but I do want to say this. I think that throughout this budget process, there were some missed opportunities for cooperation between the legislature and the executive. I think that that's one of the things that, ends with 37 amendments being before us tonight, which is, I think, higher than typical, and many more that were worked out through the Ways and Means budget process. It's my opinion that if half of the time that went into trying to get members of the public to rally against some of the amendments that were made went into actually having meaningful discussions with the legislature about goals and objectives for the monies that were included in the budget, that many of the amendments went towards, I think that we would have had a better budget process. And it's my hope over the next year and over the next 4 years with the county executive, this being County Executive Ryan's first budget, that there's more of a cooperative process with the legislature rather than combative. So with that, I'll be a yes.
Legislator Gerentine?
Yes, this is my last budget. I've been here for many years. There again, over the past 10 years, when we did go to a new form of government, we had in the past the county exec actually dwindling down our workforce, and we have dwindled it down to a point where it was very accommodating. The whole motive was say, do more with less. And this budget itself, I think it was a learning experience for the new county exec. I know he has called me a few times. I've spoken to their staff. I think it opened his eyes up on how to run government. Hopefully, he's not going to continue the way he is in the future. At least for the residents of Ulster County, would be better off if he did have cooperation with the legislative body and the county exec side. But saying all that, this budget creates 34 new positions. 16 are state-funded positions. 18 are new positions paid by Ulster County taxpayers. And that's a big number for 1 year. Good, bad, or indifferent. I'm sure some are warrant, some might be questionable, but that's a big number. You're going to have to work next year with the county exec in many different areas. Our total spending from 2019 to 2020 is over $13 million more in spending. That's 3.9%. What we did here tonight on all the amendments, we basically went from about a $700,000 contingency down to about $459,000 in contingency. So it doesn't leave a lot of room for maneuverability next year unless you're going into fund balance. And like Joe has mentioned, our fund balance is very robust right now, but that's because the economy, I feel the economy is very robust. What's going to happen next year, your guess is as good as mine. And Ken may hit the nail on the head regarding about a cooperation with the county, the executive side and the legislative side, working together for the betterment of the taxpayers of Ulster County. So in saying all that, good luck next year, and I'm going to be a yes for this budget.
Thanks, Rich.
On the resolution as amended?
On the resolution, we're a short yes.
We're a short yes.
The resolution is adopted as amended, 21-0.
Resolution 515, adopting the Ulster County Capital Program for 2020 through 2025.
We are a short yes.
On the capital program, we're a short yes.
The resolution is adopted, 21-0.
Resolution 516, approving the advancement of the capital projects for the Ulster County Community College, Ulster County Community College.
On the resolution?
We are a short yes.
Short yes.
The resolution is adopted, 21-0.
Thank you. The next regular meeting of the Ulster County Legislature will be held on Wednesday, December 18th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. here at 244 Fair Street, Legislative Chambers, 6th floor. Legislator Litz.
Madam Chairwoman, I will make a motion for adjournment.
Thank you. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.